Have you ever met someone who talks a big game, but somehow you just know they're not as confident as they seem? It's like there's a crack in the armor they're trying so hard to show off. Now here's the real question. How do you spot the difference between fake bravado and real confidence, especially in men? Hey there, Sigma sisters. Today we're diving into one of the most overlooked superpowers of Sigma females, our ability to read between the lines and spot fake confidence in men, even when it's wrapped in charm or loudness. This isn't just about dating, it's about knowing how to navigate social dynamics and protect your energy. Let's talk about why high-status, authentic men shine so brightly in comparison, and explore 8 specific ways you, as a Sigma female, can see through the facade. As a Sigma female, you're not just independent, you're highly intuitive, observant, and strategic. You've got this almost uncanny ability to sense when someone's words don't match their energy. And in today's world, where fake confidence is practically a currency for some men, it's crucial to understand how to identify it before it pulls you in or drains you. Trust me, this skill changes everything. Let's dive into the first point, and remember to stick around because each one is unique and builds on the last. 1. The loud Peacock test. Have you ever met someone who just can't help but be the center of attention? They talk the loudest, laugh the hardest, and somehow manage to steer every conversation back to themselves. This is the essence of the loud peacock test. Much like a peacock flaunting its feathers, these men put on a flashy display to grab your attention. But here's the catch, just like a peacock's feathers, it's all surface level. There's no substance underneath. Fake confidence thrives on external validation, and these men rely on being noticed to feel important. They'll name-drop influential people they've met, or pretend they've met, brag about their accomplishments, or even exaggerate their success. It's a carefully curated performance meant to convince you, and probably themselves, that they've got it all figured out. But as a Sigma female, you're not easily impressed by superficial displays. You've got this unique ability to see through the noise and focus on what really matters, substance and authenticity. So how do you tell if someone's confidence is real or just for show? It's simpler than you think. When you're in a conversation with someone like this, try asking them a deeper, more thoughtful question, something beyond the surface level. For instance, if they're boasting about their career, ask what inspired them to choose that path, or what challenges they've faced along the way. If their answers feel shallow, rehearsed, or evasive, that's your first clue. Fake confidence struggles under scrutiny because it's not rooted in real experience or self-awareness. On the flip side, a high-status man, the kind who exudes genuine confidence, doesn't feel the need to dominate the room. He doesn't need to yell his value or prove his worth to anyone. His presence speaks for itself. You'll notice he listens more than he talks, and when he does speak, his words carry weight. He doesn't need to drop names or boast because he knows who he is, and that's enough. Another thing to watch for is how they handle silence. A man with fake confidence often can't tolerate it. He'll rush to fill the quiet with more stories, jokes, or interruptions. But a truly confident man is comfortable with pauses in the conversation. He doesn't feel the need to entertain you constantly because he trusts that his presence is enough. Ultimately, the loud peacock test is about paying attention to what's beneath the noise. Sigma females thrive on authenticity, and you deserve to surround yourself with people who bring value, not just volume, to your life. So the next time someone tries to wow you with their flashy display, take a step back and ask yourself, is there substance beneath the feathers? What do you think? Have you spotted a loud peacock recently? Let me know your story in the comments. 2. The overcompensation effect. Have you ever met someone who seems to be trying just a little too hard to appear confident? They might show up in a flashy car, wear designer clothes covered in logos, or talk endlessly about their successes and possessions. While these things might initially grab attention, they often scream one thing louder than anything else: insecurity. This is the overcompensation effect, and as a Sigma female, you've probably seen it countless times. Men who rely on external symbols to project confidence aren't actually as secure as they want you to believe. Instead of building their self-worth from within, they look for it in the things they own or the reactions they get from others. It's like they're trying to convince themselves they're confident by convincing everyone else first. But here's the thing: when someone's confidence comes from something as temporary as material possessions or superficial achievements, it's always fragile. If you were to take away the car, the clothes, or the bragging rights, what would they be left with? Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing inherently bad about enjoying nice things or being proud of your accomplishments. The difference lies in whether those things define you or are simply an extension of your authentic self. A high-status man, the kind who radiates genuine confidence, might also have a successful career or drive a nice car, but he doesn't use those things to prove his worth. They're just a part of his life, not the foundation of his identity. So how can you, as a Sigma female, spot overcompensation? Pay attention to the balance between what someone shows and what they say. Men who overcompensate often steer conversations toward their possessions or achievements, even when it's unrelated to the topic at hand. For example, if you're talking about hobbies, they might slip in a mention of their expensive watch or how much money they spent on their last vacation. It feels forced, doesn't it? Another clue is their reaction to compliments, or the lack of them. Overcompensating men often fish for validation. If you don't immediately acknowledge their success, they might double down and start bragging even more. Genuine confidence, on the other hand, doesn't seek constant approval. A truly confident man doesn't need you to tell him he's enough. He already knows. One of the most powerful tools in your Sigma arsenal is your ability to sense authenticity. You naturally pick up on when someone's words or actions don't align with who they really are. Overcompensation stands out to you because it feels unnatural, like they're wearing a mask instead of just being themselves. So next time you meet someone who seems to be overcompensating, take a step back and ask yourself, is this confidence or just an attempt to cover up insecurities? You deserve to surround yourself with people who are comfortable in their own skin, not those who rely on shiny distractions to feel worthy. Have you ever dealt with someone like this? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. And don't go anywhere yet. Point 3 is coming up, and it's even more insightful. Third, body language betrayal. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone who seemed outwardly confident, but something just felt off? Maybe it was the way their eyes darted around the room, or how their hands fidgeted when they thought you weren't looking. These subtle, often subconscious signs are what I call body language betrayal. And as a Sigma female, you have a unique knack for spotting them. Fake confidence is like a carefully rehearsed play. On the surface, it can look polished, standing tall, arms crossed, or even leaning back in a way that screams, "Look how relaxed and in control I am." But the body doesn't lie. Beneath the surface, micro-expressions and small gestures often betray the truth about someone's inner state. Let's break it down. One of the biggest giveaways of fake confidence is inconsistent eye contact. A man trying to project confidence may hold your gaze a bit too long in an attempt to appear dominant or secure. But after a few seconds, you might notice his eyes flicker away, looking for validation from others in the room or avoiding you altogether when a deeper topic comes up. Genuine confidence, on the other hand, is comfortable and natural. Eye contact feels steady, not forced or intimidating. Pay attention to what someone's hands are doing. Nervous men trying to fake confidence might tap their fingers, adjust their watch repeatedly, or fiddle with nearby objects. These small, unconscious movements often signal underlying anxiety or insecurity. High-status men. Their hands stay calm. They're not afraid of stillness, and their gestures are deliberate, not jittery. A man trying too hard to appear confident might overdo his posture, standing so straight it seems unnatural, or leaning so far back that it feels exaggerated. On the flip side, you might notice moments when his shoulders slump slightly, or his posture shifts uncomfortably. These are small cracks in the mask of confidence that reveal how he's really feeling. True confidence is effortless. A man with genuine self-assurance carries himself naturally, without trying to perform confidence. Another overlooked aspect of body language is vocal tone and rhythm. A man faking confidence might speak louder than necessary, rush through sentences, or stumble over words when asked a challenging question. His voice may even waver slightly under pressure. In contrast, a truly confident man speaks with a steady, calm tone. He doesn't rush to fill silences or feel the need to dominate the conversation. As a Sigma female, your intuition gives you an edge here. You're not easily distracted by the show someone puts on. You notice the details others miss. When someone's words and body language don't align, it sends up a red flag. You can see when someone is trying to project an image rather than being authentic. Next time you're interacting with someone, try this. Watch their body language when they're relaxed versus when they're under pressure. Fake confidence tends to crumble when challenged, while true confidence stays consistent no matter the situation. Have you spotted any body language betrayals recently? Share your experiences in the comments. I'd love to know what cues you've picked up on. And don't go anywhere yet. Point 4 is coming up, and it dives even deeper into spotting fake confidence. Stay tuned. 4. The too much validation trap. Have you ever been in a conversation where it feels like someone is waiting, almost begging, for you to validate them? They might crack a joke, then glance at you for a reaction, or drop a seemingly casual comment about their accomplishments, but pause just long enough for you to chime in with a compliment. This is what I call the too much validation trap. Men caught in this trap often have an air of false confidence that masks a deep need for approval. They want you to laugh, nod, or affirm that they're smart, funny, or impressive. At first, it might seem harmless. After all, who doesn't like to feel appreciated? But over time, you start to notice a pattern. Their sense of self-worth hinges entirely on how others respond to them. One of the most common signs of this trap is subtle fishing for compliments. For example, they might say something like, "I've been working out a lot lately, but I don't know if it's made much of a difference," or "I just closed this huge deal at work, but honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal." These statements are designed to bait you into responding with praise. "Wow, you look amazing," or "That's incredible. You must be so talented." As a Sigma female, your intuition likely kicks in here. You can sense when someone's words are less about sharing and more about seeking approval. It feels needy, doesn't it? And while you might offer a polite compliment out of courtesy, deep down, you know genuine confidence doesn't crave constant applause. Another way this need for validation shows up is through humor. A man might use jokes to deflect or hide his insecurities. While there's nothing wrong with being funny, watch how he reacts if you don't laugh, or if someone doesn't acknowledge his punchline. Does he brush it off with ease, or does he double down, trying even harder to get a reaction? High-status men enjoy making others laugh, but they don't rely on it to feel good about themselves. Their humor is effortless, not a performance. This type of man often gauges your reaction after every statement or story. Did you smile? Did you nod? Did you give him the validation he was silently seeking? If you don't respond the way he hopes, you might notice him becoming slightly defensive, overly explanatory, or even withdrawing. Genuine confidence doesn't need an audience. It thrives whether people notice it or not. A high-status man, the kind who exudes genuine confidence, operates differently. He doesn't need your validation to feel secure because his self-worth comes from within. He knows his value and doesn't rely on external praise to confirm it. Sure, he appreciates compliments, but they're not the foundation of his confidence. He doesn't need to constantly check if he's good enough because he already knows he is. As a Sigma female, you're naturally drawn to authenticity and emotional security. You can spot the difference between someone who shares to connect and someone who shares to seek approval. When you notice a man falling into the too much validation trap, take a step back and consider what that says about his confidence. Is he someone who knows his worth? Or is he constantly looking for others to affirm it for him? So, have you ever come across someone like this? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how you've navigated situations like these. And don't go anywhere yet. Point 5 is just around the corner, and it's all about how fake confidence shows up as the know-it-all attitude. Stay tuned. 5. The expert at everything. Have you ever met someone who seems to have an answer for everything? No matter the topic, whether it's astrophysics, cooking, or the history of ancient civilizations, they somehow position themselves as the ultimate authority. At first glance, this expert at everything act might come off as impressive, but spend a little more time with them and cracks begin to show. This is one of the most common signs of fake confidence. Men who wear the expert at everything mask feel the need to dominate conversations with their so-called knowledge because they're afraid of looking uninformed. For them, admitting they don't know something feels like weakness. But here's the irony. Trying to appear all-knowing often reveals just how insecure they are. As a Sigma female, your sharp intuition makes you uniquely equipped to see through this façade. You notice the subtle signs, like how they dodge deeper questions or quickly shift topics when they're out of their depth. Their confidence crumbles the moment they're challenged. A man who claims to know everything about wine might suddenly become defensive or dismissive when you casually ask him about a specific vintage. That reaction isn't confidence, it's fear of being exposed. True confidence, on the other hand, doesn't need to put on a show. A high-status man is secure enough to admit when he doesn't know something. If you ask him a question outside his expertise, he might say, "I'm not sure, but I'd love to learn more about it." That kind of humility speaks volumes. It shows he values authenticity over appearances and is open to growth. The expert at everything mask is often a defense mechanism. These men feel they need to constantly prove their worth by being the smartest person in the room. But confidence that relies on external validation is fragile. When their knowledge is questioned or their opinions are challenged, their ego takes a hit. They might respond with arrogance, sarcasm, or even anger to protect their image. A genuinely confident man, he doesn't see a challenge as a threat. Instead, he views it as an opportunity to learn or engage in meaningful conversation. He's not afraid to say, "You know, I hadn't thought of it that way," or "That's an interesting point. I'll have to look into it." As a Sigma female, you value authenticity and emotional intelligence. You're not impressed by someone who pretends to know it all. You're drawn to those who embrace their imperfections and are willing to admit they don't have all the answers. True confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. When you come across a man wearing the expert at everything mask, take note of how he reacts when his knowledge is challenged. Is he open and humble, or defensive and combative? Remember, high-status men don't need to pretend. They're comfortable in their own skin and don't feel the need to prove their worth through superficial displays of knowledge. 6. Emotional inconsistencies. Have you ever noticed someone whose mood swings feel unpredictable? One moment, they're the life of the party, overly cheerful and full of bravado, and the next, they're snapping at the smallest criticism or withdrawing completely. These emotional inconsistencies are a hallmark of fake confidence, and as a Sigma female, you likely pick up on this faster than most. Fake confidence is built on shaky foundations. It's like a fragile mask that can crack under the slightest pressure. When someone is trying to project an image of confidence they don't genuinely feel, their emotional reactions often reveal the truth. They might act upbeat and self-assured when things are going their way, but as soon as they face rejection, criticism, or a challenging situation, their composure crumbles. Men with fake confidence often rely on exaggerated cheerfulness as a cover for their insecurities. They may laugh loudly, tell over-the-top stories, or act overly optimistic, hoping their high energy will make them seem self-assured. But here's the thing. Real confidence doesn't need to be loud. High-status men are often calm and composed, exuding a quiet strength that doesn't rely on constant external displays of happiness. Watch how their mood shifts in response to even mild criticism. A man with fake confidence might go from laughing and joking to defensive or even angry if you challenge his opinion or offer constructive feedback. It's as if their entire sense of self-worth is tied to maintaining a perfect image, and any perceived threat to that image feels unbearable. One of the biggest tells of fake confidence is how someone reacts under pressure. When faced with rejection, failure, or even a minor inconvenience, fake confidence often snaps like a brittle branch. They might lash out, blame others, or completely shut down. Genuine confidence, on the other hand, stays grounded. A truly confident man knows that rejection and criticism are part of life, and he doesn't take them personally. Instead, he uses those experiences to grow. High-status men, the kind you respect as a Sigma female, don't let external events dictate their emotions. They remain steady and composed, even when faced with challenges. Their self-worth isn't tied to whether someone agrees with them or how well they perform in a given situation. This emotional consistency is what sets them apart. It's a sign of maturity and genuine inner confidence. As a Sigma female, you value emotional intelligence and stability. You're not impressed by flashy displays of confidence or people who crumble under pressure. Instead, you're drawn to those who can remain composed and authentic no matter the situation. Emotional consistency isn't just about staying calm. It's about showing resilience and self-awareness, qualities you deeply admire. The next time you encounter someone with fluctuating emotions, pay attention to the patterns. Do they react calmly to criticism, or does their mask slip under pressure? Genuine confidence doesn't waver when the going gets tough. It remains steady, grounded, and secure. 7. They avoid true vulnerability. Here's a key insight. Fake confidence and true vulnerability can't coexist. Men with fake confidence will go to great lengths to avoid opening up about their emotions, struggles, or insecurities. To them, vulnerability feels like weakness, a crack in their armor they're terrified to expose. But as a Sigma female, you know better. You understand that vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's one of the greatest signs of genuine strength. Men who avoid vulnerability often rely on superficial topics or exaggerated stories to keep the conversation light and on the surface. They'll talk endlessly about their career achievements, gym routines, or social exploits, But if you steer the discussion towards something deeper, like fears, personal challenges, or emotional growth, you'll see them squirm. Why? Because fake confidence is built on the illusion of perfection. Acknowledging struggles or emotions threatens to shatter that illusion. For these men, admitting they've faced failure or felt insecure isn't an option. It feels like giving up control over how they're perceived. Another telltale sign is how they handle emotional conversations. They might deflect with humor, change the subject, or offer vague responses like, "Yeah, life gets tough sometimes, but you just got to push through." It's as if they've memorized a script of cliches to avoid engaging in anything that feels raw or real. High-status men, on the other hand, don't shy away from these discussions. They don't see vulnerability as something to fear or hide. Instead, they recognize it as a way to build deeper connections and showcase their emotional intelligence. When a high-status man shares his struggles, he's not looking for pity or validation. He's simply being authentic. True confidence comes from self-acceptance. A man who can openly talk about his challenges, mistakes, and insecurities is showing you he's comfortable with who he is, flaws and all. He's not trying to impress you with a polished facade. He's letting you see the real person behind the exterior. Vulnerability also requires courage. It takes far more strength to say, "I'm struggling with this," or "I made a mistake," than it does to pretend everything is perfect. High-status men understand this and embrace it. They know that being vulnerable doesn't diminish their masculinity or their confidence. It enhances it. As a Sigma female, you have an intuitive ability to sense when someone is being genuine. You're not fooled by flashy bravado or surface-level charm. You value depth, authenticity, and emotional resilience, and you can see through the walls fake confidence tries to build. When you encounter a man who avoids vulnerability, it's a red flag. It tells you he may not have done the inner work required to truly know and accept himself. And for a Sigma female like you, that lack of self-awareness and emotional depth is a deal breaker. Next time you're getting to know someone, pay attention to how they respond when the conversation turns personal. Do they open up and share honestly, or do they shut down and deflect? Vulnerability is where trust and connection are built, and a man who avoids it may not be ready for the kind of deep connection you seek. 8. They compete instead of collaborate. Here's the final piece of the puzzle. Fake confidence thrives on competition. If you've ever had a conversation with someone who constantly needs to outdo you or win every disagreement, you've probably encountered someone trying to mask their insecurities with an exaggerated sense of self-importance. These men see every interaction as a battlefield. They'll try to one-up your stories, challenge your opinions, or dominate the conversation. Their sense of self-worth is so fragile that they feel the need to constantly assert their superiority. But as a Sigma female, you know that real strength lies in collaboration, not competition. High-status men recognize that true power doesn't come from tearing others down to make yourself feel bigger. Instead, it comes from lifting others up, sharing knowledge, and working together toward mutual growth. Let's dive deeper into how this dynamic plays out. Have you ever shared an accomplishment or experience, only to have the person you're speaking with immediately jump in with a better story? Maybe you talked about a recent trip you took, and they immediately started talking about their international vacations, highlighting all the exotic locations, first-class flights, and amazing adventures they had. Or perhaps you mentioned an accomplishment at work, and they quickly shifted the conversation to their own career achievements, making yours seem insignificant. This behavior is a sign of someone who is playing the one-upmanship game. They need to outshine you because, for them, every conversation is a chance to prove their value. They can't simply celebrate your successes or engage with your ideas. Instead, They have to top everything you say with something better. This constant need to be on top signals deep insecurity. Fake confidence often manifests in competitive conversations. For example, during debates or discussions, these men won't listen to understand. They'll only listen to find an opening where they can interject with a gotcha moment. They might interrupt, challenge your point, or speak over you, all in an effort to win the conversation. It's exhausting to be around someone like this because it feels like you're not valued for your thoughts or opinions. It's a constant power struggle. High-status men, however, don't feel the need to compete in this way. They understand that great conversations are about connection, not about who can talk the loudest or be the most impressive. When a high-status man listens, he genuinely wants to hear what you have to say. He's interested in understanding your perspective and contributing to a meaningful exchange of ideas. His confidence is rooted in his belief that his value doesn't diminish because someone else shares a great idea or tells a cool story.